What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talk of the Tundra, your Green Bay Packers podcast that is a proud partner of the Gyro Step Podcast Network and the Blue Wire family. As always, I am your host, Numac, and joining me to talk about all things preseason after a 28-9 loss to the Steelers last week, and a preview of the Packers' return to Mile High Stadium in Denver this week is my lovely co-host, John Taylor. John, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm sorry for the Lane episode. I've just been weeping the loss at Acrisure Stadium, and I just now finally feel
Comfortable?
spiritually,
Yeah,
emotionally, intellectually ready to move on from such a heartbreaking final,
yeah.
really.
It's just tragic, honestly. Tragic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would like the viewers to point out or to notice that we got two varying stages of facial hair here. We have a very nice grown in mustache and beard, and me who's neglected shaving for 4 days. and is,
Oh, that's a 4-day growth for you. I thought maybe you were just I you could have told me you just shaved and I would have been like, for sure, for sure.
no, if I
Um,
just shaved, I'd be smooth as a baby's bottom.
yeah.
Your
I
boy
started I
doesn't grow
started
facial
shaving.
hair.
Yeah, I think I might have told you this. I started shaving when I was 12 years old. I
Yeah,
remember I was at a seventh grade
no.
lock-in, and I at Frank Lloyd Wright Middle School in West Dallas, Wisconsin, and they're like, "What are you up to?" And I was like, "I shaved today," and I've been having to do it ever since.
yeah,
It's fine.
I do it
Uh,
once a week and I hate it.
yeah, I mean, I'm it's getting a little long for my taste as well. So, anyways,
I don't think I'm allowed to grow facial hair. My co-host has always had just thick facial hair.
yeah,
Between you and Jordan, I just
yeah,
it'd be weird if I could grow facial hair.
yeah.
But
This feels like a weird monkey paw situation where you're like, "Oh, it'd be so awful if all of a sudden I could have a beard."
listen, man, I tried during COVID when I was like
Yeah,
working from home, working basketball times. No one could see the gross in between that was no shaving to a month and a half of not shaving.
yeah.
It doesn't work. It doesn't. It doesn't. You would have thought I was in sixth grade the way this beard and mustache came in. But either which way, let's talk some Packers.
Yeah, let's
Speak
do that.
speaking of I guess getting cut. No, that's not good. That's not poor transition. Speaking of making
Hmm.
headlines, I don't know. This is an awful segue. The big story out of training camp this week is obviously the cornerback room. Um, Pick a player in there, and they've made their own headlines for better or for worse. I guess let's start with the big one, Keisean Nixon, coming out of the game against the Steelers last week, with a lot of the ire of Packers Twitter, and I think has spawned a lot more discussion about him than I think honestly is worth it. Is a weird way to put it, but like I think I saw honestly it might have been ESPN Milwaukee or something like that. Whoever it was talking about like yeah they can't cut him or like they should cut him or they put out a poll that's like do you want to start him, bench him, cut him, trade him, etc. And I think like the majority of rational Packers fans understand that like they can't cut him. They like need a body, like regardless. But I think most of the fan base, like the rational fan base, is like, yeah, if he keeps playing with the effort and I guess results that he's been showing in camp and in preseason week one, he definitely shouldn't have the starting job. And I think that's kind of what Matt LaFleur and the rest of the I think coaching staff has kind of made evident by how they're running training camp has made pretty clear is that if he's not going to be willing to tackle and give poor effort like he did during the preseason game, they're going to punish him for it. But I don't even know if it's like punishment in the way that Keyshawn thinks it's punishment. Like Keyshawn doesn't say he doesn't know why he's getting punished, but at the same time, it's a preseason game. I know you don't want to go so hard, but you're only out there for a series. Like you can give full effort for one series. That's how I see it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I agree. I thought the whole thing was perplexing. I don't, I understand that like cornerback ones need to have like goldfish memory and they need to like
Hmm.
dust themselves off and be like ready to go for the next one. I am so confused by somebody who is wholesale has just been fine at the position. Not great, just fine in every single way. I don't know. And I think the best he's ever been is fine. So I don't really understand how he comes at every press conference so sideways and so unaware. Um, and it's crazy. Like, and obviously, like you mentioned, like Matt LaFleur coming back, being like, well, I guess everybody's getting punished because everybody's jobs are up for, um, debate and everyone has to earn their spot
Right.
every offseason. I don't think that's true either. So I mean that's good coach speak, but the part that I took exception with, and I mentioned this in our Discord, you can sign up for that at gspn.info, was just that like he's like, oh man, Keyshawn really loves making a headline. And I just wish I wish Keyshawn would echo any of those frustrations, away from the microphone, I suppose. Like if he really was just not meaning to imply anything by it, then he should have just not said anything. It's really not that hard to just be like, yeah, they got a new guys. Like I need to go in and do what I know I can do. And I'm not worried about it. Like how easy would that have been to say from somebody who, like I said, is not great at the position? Like you don't get the luxury of talking like a wide receiver one when you're a wide receiver four. And I know we're talking about cornerback, but that's my point. Like he walks
Right.
around like he's like this gift to our defense, and it's like you're a liability at best, my guy. Like just don't be terrible. And so I thought that was really interesting. Ultimately, it. Matt LaFleur, this is what I want to say, has a really interesting track record of like when he starts talking about players in this way, like editorializing their remarks, and it becomes like really clear to me that he does not. I think he's over Keisean Nixon
Mm-hmm.
in the way that he was over Jair Alexander,
Mm-hmm.
in the way that he was over
Rasheed Walker.
Don, Rasheed Walker, Dontavian Wicks. Like name your pick on guys. Romeo Dobbs. Like when he starts making comments about the guys and not the play, I think there's more in there than I would like out of my head coach to lead on. And that's fine. I mean, it is what it is. I think ultimately, if the Packers do end up not starting him at cornerback, it will be well earned and well deserved. And so I just don't know. I'm not surprised by that. I think if he was a bigger name, it might cause more controversy. But I just can't imagine other players in the locker room aren't hearing that being like, yeah, man,
Yeah.
you've been bad. Like it's not like I don't really know anybody like beating the drum for this dude inside the locker room. Like, it's like famed LVN hater Numac, it's like when people get down on him, everybody in the locker room is like, no, he's going to be somebody. Like, you just got to give him time. Like, he's going to
Right.
figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's in Keyshawn's corner being like, no, you got to give this guy a chance. Like,
Yeah.
I've heard nobody come out in his defense. Like, X could. I mean, I guess there's not a ton in the secondary in terms of veteran leadership, but
I
I just
mean,
mean like
it
nobody.
has to be X. I mean, like
Yeah.
X had media this week, and all he did was talk about Trace Mack.
Yeah, he's too busy harassing Trace Mack, who had a fantastic showing,
He did.
which
We will get
just
to it.
bouncing around.
We will get to
Yeah,
it.
great.
But like to your like that's a honestly like a great point is that nobody has come out to defend him and say, yeah, he's working through some stuff. Like he's still a valuable part of our team, and we need him out there. We need him to be his best. Like nobody, nobody. And like to your point, yeah, the only other person that would be out there would be like Exeter Carrington, right? But I mean, like Jonathan Gannon hasn't come out in support of him or anything. Like I know he doesn't have a tie to him, but he's still a player that he's going to have to figure out a role for in his defense this season. And so, yeah, it's telling for sure. And I think like what is honestly like more telling is he's taking snaps with the threes. Like and I know that a lot of the corners right now are taking snaps all over the place, but like Brandon Cisse is taking snaps with the ones and pretty much the ones only. He's getting like reps with some of the twos, but not a lot. But like you look at some of the corners that have come through the Packers defense in the last handful of years. Jair was never with the threes. Like I don't think Eric Stokes in my memory was ever with like the threes before his injury. Like all these guys, like if Keyshawn wants to be Jair, which like I think he obviously clearly does, like he thinks he's as good as he is, even though that Pro Bowl was for kick returning and not corner play. Like it's just unbecoming to a former starter to be taking reps with the lesser players. It just is, and he has stuff to work on. And if you want to drink the Kool Aid that I think some of the Packers media has been putting out there, that like maybe Keyshawn said he wants to work with them to get more reps in to do all this, right? Sure, if you want to believe that, more power to you. I'm saying iron cuts iron. Like Keyshawn needs to be out there going against Christian Watson and going against Matthew Golden every single rep to get better because he's not going to be getting better going against J. Michael Sturdivant or Bull Melton or with respect to Savion Williams or any of these guys that are at the end of the roster or at the end of the wide receiver group, right? Like that's just not what makes Keisean Nixon a better corner. Like you can get more reps if you want, but what good is more reps at a guy that's not going to make the team?
Yeah, I mean, I when you talk about like charitable assumption, like what playing devil's advocate, like, oh, maybe he asked for that. Like, um, respectfully, what a loser mentality. You're the cornerback one of this football team, or at least you think you are. Like, what a loser mentality. Be like, oh yeah, I want more reps. Put me with the threes. Like, what does that accomplish for you? Like, and then to get cooked by like Savion Williams, like lined up at the X, like not even doing like Joker stuff like people think he should be doing. Like, you're not draping yourself in glory. It's like playing a video game being like, well, I'm going to put it on easy mode so that way I can at least get through it so people can understand like I know what I'm doing, and then dying like 100 times like while you're playing it. It's like that's not you're not getting the intended outcome that you want, right? And it's like nobody's impressed by that either. It's weird. I don't know. I don't really know how to feel about it because I think like when Cisse got drafted, I was pretty vocal being like, I don't think he's going to start the year, but I think he'll definitely probably get in there, and can he play well enough to take the job and not let it go. And obviously with Carrington Valentine getting hurt, I just think it kind of forced them to like look at everything. And I think like obviously they like Cisse enough to just be like, he's going to learn, he's going to make mistakes, but how is that different than anybody else? Like, and at least the stuff that we know he does well, which is like attack the box, come downhill, like actually being a willing tackler. Like he's so fast, and he can close a lot of ground. Like what is this is a perfect example of like to mix metaphors with like baseball. It's like this is why you call up like a prospect and you just go like, yeah, they're gonna make mistakes. They might cause a couple errors, but like at the end of the day, we don't think we're gonna lose games because of that, and they're gonna learn a lot from it while doing it.
This is literally them calling up Cooper Pratt.
Yeah,
It's literally them calling up Cooper Pratt to push Joey Ortiz out of his shortstop spot because at least they know Pratt will learn something at bat, like at the plate, while being probably just as good, if not a little less on defense, right?
yeah,
Like calling up Brandon Cisse, at the very least, he's going to get the reps to learn how to become a better corner in his rookie year. While if you just throw Keyshawn out there, they know what they have in Keyshawn Nixon, and he's clearly not about effort. Like not to put that label on him 2 weeks into treat the preseason and like all of that, right? It's preseason, it doesn't matter, but like the effort matters. And we go back to like the game against the Bears in the playoffs when he didn't put his head down and tackled DeAndre Swift at the goal line. Like that's a damning play. Same thing with the play against I think it was Jeremy Bernard, right? That was his name. Like
mm-hmm.
I was like fairly certain that was his name. The Bama wide receiver, and like tackle him. He's a rookie. You should be all over him. He's a rookie. Like I know he's a good receiver at Alabama. You've got 4 years at corner over him. Like you should this shouldn't be happening. And
Yeah.
so like I'm with you that it's just he's not draping himself in glory taking reps with the threes. And at this point, like I don't know what you do with him because I think it's going to be a very long season. If
Mm-hmm.
not like from a team perspective, but just from like a narrative, this is always going to crop up perspective. Like I'm going to try to keep it best at like try my best to keep it sort of on the low once the season starts and talk about things that aren't Keisean Nixon and talk about the good like that we usually try to do. But I mean, if he's out there not showing effort, like he's gonna lose his snaps, like he already is. Like it's kind of looking like it's gonna be Cisse and St. Juiced at
Yeah,
at 1 and 2.
maybe. Yeah, or at least Carrington Valentine when he comes back. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, I just think like that's the only real reason why I think probably Keyshawn was running with the threes. If I actually had to give my real like earnest take, besides the fact that like, well, first of all, the coaching staff just isn't going to prioritize his reps. Like that's very obvious, and I
Mm-hmm.
think we've litigated why enough. I think like they would probably want St. Juice to get reps on the right side of the field where Cisse isn't. Because they're like playing the same sides of the field. They're not following, at least not this training camp. They haven't been.
Right.
So they're probably wanting to see what St. Juice has there. Carrington Valentine's coming back, so like he's gonna probably be playing a lot of ones because he is a starting cornerback for this team until the depth chart says otherwise. So it's like really, I just think they're not prioritizing his snaps. And I think like to your point, like it's training camp. We've talked about this the last couple episodes. Surprisingly, there hasn't been some like huge news that it's like really kind of like driving the narrative of this. And I think like this is the one that's been globbed on, is that people just are over the lack of effort from Keisean Nixon. And I don't disagree. I think he earned and deserves every bit of criticism. When the season starts, if they start him, he's our cornerback. And I'm not the type of person, when I watch the Packers play, to look for reasons to be down on guys. I want him to play well. But the issue
We
is that
always do.
I just don't think he's put it enough on tape to have me feel confident that he won't miss tackles, be lazy about coverage, have some really boneheaded penalties. Like there's so much about his game that is like so unsavory. And I know, I think like Andy Herman on the Pack a Day was talking about it this week. And it's not like Peter principle, as you like, you know what I mean? You like rise to your incompetence and then that's where like things go sideways. I just think like in every sense of the word, Keisean Nixon has benefited from a comedy of errors from the Packers, which, you know, aren't necessarily their fault. Like Jair getting hurt is not their fault. Keisean Nixon as like your second or third cornerback, not bad, but you all of a sudden make him your one, and that's a problem. The fact that up until this year they hadn't drafted a cornerback outside of the seventh round since Eric Stokes, that's a problem. These
Yep.
are premium positions if we're not going to address them. And I know they had other things they had to do, but it's like I'm not even necessarily trying to damn anyone, but Keisean Nixon just de facto had to become your answer. And like, how many teams are standing pat thinking that's going to be a serviceable solution at the wide receiver one position? I just don't think it's very many,
Right.
and justifiably so. So, yeah, it's interesting. I think like I think there's other things that are more interesting in terms of cornerback room. Like, you know, there's conversations about like just going back to the preseason game. Jalen Simpson looked terrible in the slot. I mean, I don't even really know why they had him in there.
Mm-hmm.
He's like truly a safety. I don't really understand, but he looked terrible. Like cannot play there terrible. Like not sure why he isn't even going to make the roster because of how bad he played terrible.
Yeah.
And they need to figure out an answer as who's going to be the backup slot, because like if Javon Buller gets hurt or if Evan Williams goes down, like Keaton didn't look great playing in the slot. That looked awful. So it's like you're just kind of like looking at this like, oh, if they're going to try to keep their best guys on the field, like there's going to have to be some shuffling. And I'm curious, like Kamal Haddon's back after breaking his fibia and tibia. He made like a pretty long post about
Yeah.
how arduous the last 7 months are. I think it's awesome. I know they really like him. I know he really showed out last year, and like,
Yeah.
you know, he was like a practice squad, like
Big
reserve darling for that reason.
big special teamer last year.
Yeah, I know they like him,
Yeah.
and I know they want to have a role for him. So I'm curious to see. I mean, Bullard's out. He's going to get a lot of snaps in slot on today when the podcast comes out. Like
Right.
later tonight, we will see Kamal Haddon do a lot of will play a lot of snaps, and I'm excited for it. I think like part of this too is like Keisean Nixon might find his way back into the slot as a backup role, and he might truly become like, and this isn't really a term for cornerbacks, but like he might be a swing cornerback. Like he can play on the boundary, he can play inside. Like he's almost more valuable to the team if he's going to play the way he is as like a movable depth chess piece
100%.
than to just like stick him on the boundary and just like live with that. Like I just don't think you can. And I think like clearly they got Cisse, who's a little bit longer. He's like a little thinner, but he's fast. They got St. Juice, who's just like who's built like a safety, playing outside boundary cornerback. Like they're over the 5'10", like barely meets their athletic thresholds, right? And whether they're over it fully, but I think they just know they need a more diverse room. They need guys that can hold up at the point of the attack for footballs. Like wide receivers are only getting bigger and stronger, and you know, all of that is an issue. So I'm definitely curious, like moving forward, how much are they actually going to restrict his snaps, and in the opposite of that, like are they actually willing to um, use him as depth in that way? So that's something I'm looking forward to finding out the next couple weeks for sure.
I think it's a great point. Like you asked who was going to be backup slot corner if Bullard is out for an extended period of time, and my first like instinctual thought was like just throw Keyshawn there. Like if you want to throw Keyshawn just around the field, have him like you said be a chess piece in this defense and in the secondary, like it's going to be something that they really have to figure out as they go through this training camp because something something's got to give. He can't be out there with this energy and effort to go back to an old Jason Kidd. Or is that Mike? Is that Bud or Jason Kidd?
I don't know.
I think it was. It might have been Bud. Anyways, and be out there starting, right? But to your point, a chess piece that moves around from outside corner, either weak side or strong side, and then if it's Cisse, St. Juice, and then Keyshawn, um, in the slot. I mean, even if they go like dime, like if Bullard's there, Ivan Williams, and Keyshawn's there too, like it's fine, right? I don't love Keyshawn inside against like better tight ends and guys that have 8 inches and 60 pounds on him, kind of thing. Like it's not my ideal outcome for Keyshawn, but at this point, he's probably solidly competing for third on the depth chart, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, we can only go off what they go up, what they're willing to show us, right?
Yeah,
Like at the end of the day, like I think it's very obvious to me. I think it's more telling, and I've said this before, so maybe I'm just gilding the lily at this point, but like it's more telling to me that they're willing to do other things than to just park them out there and say like, what do you
100%.
want us to do? This is our cornerback one, right?
100%.
So
Yep.
at the end of the day, like week one, Vikings. Could it be Cisse and Nixon? Absolutely. And I would totally understand it. But I think it's more intriguing and there's more of a story there when you just kind of look at everything. But I
Yeah.
mean, you know, I think we've explored every angle on Keisean Nixon here.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's easily the biggest story this week
Yeah.
has been what does that look like? Um,
Before we
but
like move off corners too fast and move away from
yeah,
Keyshawn, Cisse's been really good. Like he's been really good in camp. Like they Packers posted a couple of like videos of him in camp, and then players really liking his effort on the goal line when he made that tackle to stop the touchdown off of the pitch to the left. Like that was like it's those kind of plays that like energizes a team, right? And establishes yourself as a young leader. Like Cisse is not going to earn a C on his chest this year, of course not. But I mean, it makes the team want to root for you, right? It has guys in your corner and want to speak your praises. So um, I'm excited to see what they how much they play Brandon Cisse tonight against Denver. And I mean, I hope that Denver plays a majority of like their starters because I mean I wouldn't mind seeing how Cisse stacks up against like Cortland Sutton or Jalen Waddle. Like I think that'd be a fun driver too to see really how he can do. And if he's like if he gets torched, so be it. Like he's a rookie in the preseason, right? Like he's still learning the ropes, but it'd be really fun to see him go out there and have a couple PBUs, and if we're lucky, have an interception or something like that.
yeah, definitely. Any other? I figure what we should do is just go from the secondary all the way to the running backs. Is there anybody in the secondary you want to touch on this week besides what we've already discussed?
I don't think so. Um,
Yeah.
I think like I like we touched on it already, and we'll get to Trace Mack super later, but I do like that X is like being not more outspoken, but like I feel like this is the nature of safety and the nature of like having Micah and Tucker Craft and Jordan Love and the rest of like the leaders on this team that X kind of gets forgotten about once in a while. So I did like to hear him be a leader to Trace Mack as like locker buddies, right? Because if there's anyone, I should say anyone, if you're a rookie kicker and things are going poorly in the beginning of camp, right? Like it was by no means Trace Mack's best showing at practice before the Steelers game. Like I'm sure Trace Mack doesn't like it either. That's pretty much obvious. But with like X next to him saying like, "Hey, we need you to make these kicks," like that's good leadership, knowing that it's coming from the heart and not coming from like his rear end, right? He's not trying to be an asshole about it. He's like, "We need you to be good. You can be good. We've seen it." So that was really cool. That's like my only like X like
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about,
safety like talk, right?
yeah,
Is like
we're talking about Trace Mack. We might as well keep talking about
might
him.
as
I
well,
mean, like,
yeah,
I agree with you. Like, I think like it was very clear. And I think Gutekunst said this week, like, would they look at adding another kicker, like potentially? But like, I honestly think like they cut McManus when they did. He's still a free agent, so it's not like anybody was dying to have him, which means the Packers didn't want him. So they didn't do him any they didn't do him a kindness. They didn't think it was beneficial to have him in there. They brought in another kicker and released him almost as quickly as they got him. So it's like it's just so clear to me that like they believe in Trace Mack's leg. And I would say, like, after watching that first preseason, I'm like, oh yeah, the talent is like undeniable. Like it's not like if you like squint and kind of like cover part of your eyes, maybe you can see a kicker in there. Like that dude has a leg for sure. And what I really like about X and what I'm assuming other players are doing, because that only came out really too because they're like locker mates. Like I'm hoping other people are doing this, but it's really nice seeing like you said, like a veteran player, somebody who is like an important figure and leader on this team, like put their arms around him and say like, you are our kicker, like you got this, like you need to go do this, right? And he seems like a total gamer. Like he's out there saying like he's like off social media. He was saying that like he needs to get to Lambeau to like learn how to kick there. And I think there's just a lot of um I want to say like bad tastes in Packers fans' mouth when they think about kickers. Like this dude thinks about football in a way that I don't think we might have had since like Mason Crosby. Like I genuinely get the impression like this dude wants to be great. He doesn't want to be a good kicker. Like I think he wants to be a great football player and he
Mm-hmm.
just happens to play kicker. And you can kind of hear in the way he talks about the way he kicks. Like there is like a very athletic mentality and he came to like kicking late. So you know he's like an athlete first and not like a specialist. You know, he wasn't like some weird, well, weird's not the right word, but he wasn't like a soccer kid that was like plucked and like developed in high school, was like, you're going to do all these punt, kick, throw camps. You know what I mean? Like this dude was somebody who was just like an athlete and they were like, have you tried kicking? You should kick.
Yeah.
And then he just has an absolute cannon. Like I'm so excited to watch him kick at Mile High. Like,
Yeah.
could he hit a 60? He might bomb a 65er.
He sure
And
might.
honestly, if the Packer, like, honestly, what they should do is take the touchback, drive the ball 10 yards, and then just kick on second down. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's see a 65 yarder right away. And the process was great in Pittsburgh. You know, they have a lot of wind coming off the river. So I just think like there's an element of like this dude might just turn it on when the bright lights are on. And like that's what you want out of kickers, like
Mm-hmm.
people that are ready for the big moment. I don't need him to be perfect all the time. I just need him to be clutch. And there's only one way to find that out, and that's
Yeah.
to obviously keep playing games and get into the season. So
You can 1000% call kickers weird. They are
yeah,
by nature the weirdest guys on the team, except when you
yeah.
get Christian Wilkins in the locker room. Like I think that's the only guy out weirding a kicker.
Famously so weird, we've never seen him again. No, I was gonna say like you don't pluck like a weird soccer player because I just meant like developmentally, like
Right.
early on. That I was trying not to besmirch a sport. I just because I don't care about it doesn't mean they're not
You you
valuable.
you can besmirch. It's fine.
I'm not besmirching. I refuse to besmirch right now. But yeah, that's kind of all I got with the kicking. I think
Yeah.
like it was really awesome watching him bomb two balls in the same drive, and then
Yeah.
obviously to have him go perfect.
Yeah.
He put up all of the Packers points. You
He
know
sure
when
did.
they were competitive, and they looked good too. You know what I mean, like mechanically.
Yeah.
So
I did like
yeah,
you had mentioned on our last pod about how he doesn't have any like cut or fade to his balls. Like it's just straight line, aim for the goal post. And each one I was like, yeah, look at that. It just goes towards it just goes
yeah,
towards the goal post and it drops right in.
yeah.
So
He's like, I'm looking right
I'm
there,
looking there.
and
There's a little bit of
and that's
wind.
where
I'm just gonna go
and
shoop.
and that's where that ball is going to travel. So hopefully, and I think that's important. I think
For
like,
sure.
and it speaks to this idea too, where it's like if you can kick the ball straight, you don't have to do as much. You just
Yeah.
look where you want it to go, and you can, you don't have to like try so hard. So I'm really excited, and like I said, we're so downtrodden by special teams over the last 10 years that it's I think like most places aren't
Yeah.
thinking about this to the extent. Hopefully we're in a lot of games where kicking doesn't matter. The problem is that the nature of the sport is they definitely do. So
Always. They
um
always do.
so we'll just see. I mean, it couldn't be worse than what
Yeah.
McManus did for his last postseason, which was lose us
Lose
a
us a
playoff
game.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lose
so
us multiple games last year. But
yeah.
he's not a team anymore.
I
We
do. I
won't.
do. I am curious too. I mean, we're in like specialty zone. Daniel Whelan still the best.
Yeah,
I
still
mean, there's
great.
nothing to say about just like found money, just absolute nails. Hopefully, punts for us for another 10 years. Like,
Yeah.
um, and then obviously like Orzik's still like kind of out.
Still out.
I forget what the new long snapper's name is that we got from the Bengals. It's like I would say it's like Adonis or Leonidas or it's like it kind of sounds like weirdly like mythological, even though it isn't.
It is
Um,
something like that. It is Cal Adomitas. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Adam at his touch.
Uh,
I'm curious. Like, I do wonder. Do is there a point where this guy just stays the kicker, right? Or the operation's going to be good enough? I'm like curious about it. Like, I mean, ultimately, if they keep Orzik, like, why wouldn't they? But like,
I
the long
would
snapper matters. So
I would bet they place Orzek on like either the PUP list or like season beginning IR. He's out for the first month and they see how the operations go in the first month. And then
Yeah.
if Cal's Adamitis works enough, yeah, Adamitis works well enough, they'll probably just keep him, right? But if not, then it's like, sorry, bud, we appreciate you, but that's just kind of how the cookie crumbles. We're not going to change what's working essentially,
Yeah.
because like
And
again,
they've
because
done
it's so
weird.
critical to keep that operation the same,
Yeah. Um, yeah. And I mean, he's 1/3 of the special teams unit when they
right?
kick field goals. So it's like he's been like weirdly not put in the crosshairs. And I don't know if that's necessarily good because I think um, I don't think he does anything too special. So we were talking about this. I never want to watch somebody lose their job because they got injured, but I'm just kind of like, you know, the march of progress moves forward.
Sure does.
And maybe he just doesn't have a place on the team anymore. But who knows?
Who
That's all
knows?
I got with special teams. That's it.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
Um,
fine with me.
yeah, I don't really have a. I mean, the biggest thing I want to talk about in the linebackers sounds like Zaire is a psychopath
Yes.
on the field. Like we finally got our first bit of camp fights. Maybe that's the big news. This is if you want to CGI in some like red flashing lights right now. Camp fights, camp fights, camp fights. What Chris Brooks came back and immediately got in the fight, and then Tucker Craft came back, and then him and Zaire Franklin just been like jawing at each other pretty hard ever since Monday.
Yeah.
Um, I think I don't know if he's even getting the better of Tucker Craft. I know there's been a couple photos of Craft just catching insane balls in front of the linebackers in the secondary. This is not a Tucker Craft segment per se. I just mean I'd really like the edge Zaire Franklin comes to the field. Like I like that he was like, yeah, we're jawing, of course we are, and we're still gonna have breakfast tomorrow morning like we do every day. Like he's like, when I'm on the field, I'm a different person, and I think like that is something the Packers have really missed. It's like they
100%.
need guys who are going to actually espouse the values they preach, which is like tough nose, like FU football. And I just don't think they've really had anybody who is kind of like that.
They need leaders. They need guys who talk the talk and then subsequently walk the walk, right? Like
Yeah.
they just need that. Like you said, I think you said it perfectly. The hard nosed guys that are gonna like put their body on the line for this team. To that end, like Jordan Morgan pancaking that guy uh, during the game last week, like that's the kind of stuff you want to see, right? Like I don't want to see Jordan Love's head get dribbled off the ground again. Like I know this
Yeah.
is kind of the same thing we've kind of talked about all off season, but like I think now that we're seeing this sort of edge that they have, I'm all for it. Especially with Zaire Franklin, like I think there's a good chance he earns a captain tag on his jersey. Like I
Yeah.
think he's having that sort of impact through camp already, and just like is that voice that like you said that they need. Um, there were some sicko plays that I saw from Edge and Zaire in camp. I think I talked about him last week, but there's just been more, and I just want real football to see them both play
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. We're getting there. I mean, we're definitely
We're
what,
getting there.
3 more weeks until it starts? Two more?
It's
I mean,
three.
yeah, 3, right? Because there's a break. Yeah, of course. And as
Yeah.
there should be. But yeah, I mean, in terms of linebacking, I mean, I think everything else is steady as she goes. Like I will
Yep.
say McDuffie still terrible in coverage. That was not great.
Yeah.
I don't think Tyron Hopper was really great. It's like it was no secret the Steelers really started moving the ball when those guys were being asked to cover. That's not to say Zaire is going to be much better, but
Right.
my last big point about the preseason game is just like, man, our third string guys are terrible. And that's okay because we don't want to see him on the field anyways.
Yeah,
But
we shouldn't be
boy,
seeing them in the
it
first
was
place.
it was painfully bad how the talent drop off between the first and second strings to like the end of the roster, like
Yeah.
probable cut guys. So
Yeah.
um but
Yeah. I know I've nothing else in the linebackers either. So let's go on
yeah.
to the edge and the D line. I think a lot of the discussion is going to be on like the edge in this quote unquote segment. Um, LVN is still having a good camp. Like, I just want to see it. Like we've talked about this enough to where you guys know my opinion on it. He was out, I think, with an injury the last couple of days. I think he's back today.
Yep.
I think he's playing tonight, right? As in
Yeah.
tonight, tomorrow's as we're recording tomorrow, as you're listening to tonight. Um, so like same thing. Like I just want to see it. I just want to see how it works and how it translates to the actual game. Um,
Yeah, he was
deny
back at practice yesterday.
good.
at least. So
Yeah,
yeah,
like doing like full team work.
yeah, he was starters
Good,
on the 19th.
good,
So he was LVN, Wyatt, Ford, Brooks, and Sorrell.
good.
So
Um, Denai Dennis Sutton came back from his dehydration spout that he had missed a week of practice with. So obviously important. It's been hot. We're in the dog days of summer in late July, early August. Um, so
yeah, it was highlighted something I didn't know, which was like there was actual like heat stroke or heat concern protocol. Like you actually have to
yeah,
come back and pass. I mean,
it's
after I forget who passed away during training camp, but I mean they've really
right,
started taking those things more seriously, and as they
right.
should. So,
No,
but
heat stroke and dehydration is no joke.
yeah. Well, because they said he was out with illness, and everyone was like making jokes that he got Taylor farmed.
Right.
The right, the like some food issues.
Yeah,
And then yeah, obviously it's like as it kept happening, people were like, "What kind of illness keeps you out this much that you wouldn't report?" And then it was finally brought up, like,
yeah.
like I think Matt LaFleur was like, "Oh yeah, he's dealing with like he went out due to like heat concerns."
Yeah,
Um,
he said they said he overheated.
Overheated, yeah.
Yeah,
And then obviously a bunch of the beat reporters were just saying that there's protocols, and he was back that same day. So it's like,
yeah,
I think they just followed the protocol, and it's the right time of year where you're not going to push anybody. Like if he's not feeling well, like or doing well. And this is a beautiful dovetail into what I want to talk about, at least when we talk about the edge room. Like, he's not beating out Baron Sorrell to be the number two
right,
edge alongside LVN while Micah Parsons is out. It's just not going to happen.
right.
You made
You're
a face like you didn't think I was gonna. I'm saying, well, Micah is out. I
no,
think
hold
he
on.
is. Yeah.
You're missing a crucial name for the guy who could be the second edge rusher,
Who's that?
Brenton Cox Jr. He's
Oh,
ha-
there's no
he's
shot, but
having a great camp.
he is. He
Like
absolutely is.
like he's got what this is year four for him, 3 or 4. I forget exactly which. I'm checking now because I want to make the point about like experience with the team and everything. But this will be his 4th season, so his 4th training camp. Like I think he's got the experience within like what they want to do on defense, and for all intents and purposes, what I've seen on Twitter, he's mauling guys on the
Yeah.
offensive line. Like I do think there is a real chance that he starts like week 1 as their second edge rusher. Like if between him and Baron Sorrell, it'll probably be close. They might just go with Baron Sorrell because he's their draft pick. They want to see if they can uplift him more and more. But I don't think I've seen a single like negative thing about Brenton Cox Jr. on through from any of the media guys all training camp. Like I think he's
Yeah.
having that good of a training camp to showcase, hey, you took a swing on me 4 seasons ago now. Like
Mhm.
sometimes it takes a little longer for guys to like get into that. Also, oh my god, he's 26 already. But
He's so
like
old.
I know. But like I think he's gonna be in the mix for sure until Micah comes
Yeah.
back. And I
I
think
don't disagree. I don't
it's gonna
disagree with
be
that.
I think it'll be Lucas Ness and then 2A, 2B kind of thing for whether they want to have Baron Sorrell there or Brenton Cox Jr.
Yeah. I'll say this too. It's like Brenton Cox, it seems like, has been wrecking everything in a great way. I do also think that most reports are that Baron Sorrell looks like he's making the year 2 jump that they would expect him to do.
Good. Yeah.
No matter what. I think like you're right. I think like and to your point, like I personally would bet that they keep Sorrell. They drafted him last year. He is 3 years younger. It's like if they're playing around the same, wouldn't you want to develop a guy that you can keep longer? It's always contract stuff. Like even if Cox plays well, like they're not going to sign him. So it's like not to say he shouldn't play, but I just mean like when you're talking about snaps as a resource, why wouldn't you develop them to a guy that you're going to have on the team longer?
Yeah.
That
A
being
guy
said,
under contract next year.
what we can have this argument around like actual cut date, and I would happily. I mean, neither one are going to get cuts. Maybe it's not really an argument, but if we ever like build a depth chart, what I do want to say is what a wonderful spot we find ourselves in, where most of the offseason, you and I were having conversations where like, what does this edge room look like? And it's like I think like it seems like the Josh Sweat trade conversation is like dead, mostly due to draft capital. But I think like at this point, I'm not sure Josh Sweat is going to give you more than like what the sum of like Sorrell, Cox Jr., like LVN, all seem to be giving you. And if you're just talking about like treading water until Micah comes back, it's like all of a sudden this stuff looks a lot better on paper than what I was willing to give it credit for. I was really concerned that Sorrell might not move forward. Cox, I mean, he's been good, but he's also been injured a bunch. So it's like
Yep,
there's just so many things that have like are nervous, and obviously all of these things can still happen. No, nothing's promised in 2 games of preseason, but um, I just think they look better than I was expecting them to look. Like
for
just
sure.
purely from an athletic standpoint, which doesn't need pads, however you want to talk about it. So like, what a great place to be in, because this was, I think, truly like my biggest point of concern was like, I don't know how good the cornerbacks are to our previous conversation. I don't know how good they're going to be. The only way this defense goes from like good to great to maybe elite is like if they figure out how to get to the quarterback
Hmm.
quickly, uh, which is buoyed by the fact that Javon Hargrave's back. Let's talk about another guy that we didn't really get. He came back this week. Sounded like he was doing grown man shenanigans
Doing
on.
a lot of grown man shenanigans.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it was very funny just seeing all of the beat reporters just be like, "Oh yeah, he's a guy." Like you can just see it. Like
Yeah,
he's
like
just like,
he's a unit.
yeah, he's an absolute unit. Yeah, it'll be good. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Um,
Before we
and it's
breeze,
interesting. Oh, go
sorry,
ahead.
before we breeze
No,
past the edge rushers, I like that is one thing I'm going to be watching tonight. Is like how Van Ness, Sorrell, and Cox Jr. among others, um, is DDS playing? Do you know?
I mean, I'm assuming he is, but
Yeah,
I mean, they
I
don't
could
have to
see
make
it.
that announcement
True.
until like really close to kickoff.
Right.
So
Um,
he
I'll be,
needs to.
he
I
needs
mean,
to
he
for
needs the
sure.
rep. So it's like if he's cleared, they got to
Well,
get him out
it's
there.
also like yeah, he just came back from heat stroke or dehydration or what have you. But either which way, like tonight, like the Denver has a good line if I remember correctly. So seeing those guys go up against this starting line for a series or two, I think will be fun and important. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, to your point, like Javon Hargrave coming back and solidifying the D line in camp, important because I don't know about you, John. I haven't heard much of anything from Carl Brooks or Colby Wooden or any of those guys. Like, excuse me. I just maybe it's my not paying attention enough, but I haven't heard their names or typed out in a tweet or seen them much of all from training camp. So it's a little bit concerning, but um,
Well, to be
yeah,
fair, you haven't heard about Colby Wooden because he's an Indianapolis Colt because he got traded for the
that's
Zaire.
right. Oh my
So
god.
that's why you haven't heard much about him.
Oh my
But to your
god.
point,
I was like,
to,
I said that. I was like, I don't think I've heard a peep from him the
yeah,
entire
you
time.
just you haven't been
Oh,
on the Indianapolis beat, luckily.
thank God.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think like Javon coming in and inserting himself back in is vital to have this interior of the defensive line feel better. I will say it sounds like Jonathan Ford is impressing. Like I think like if you're talking about like
Former Chicago
somebody,
Bear and former Packer.
yeah. It just sounds like he's. I mean, the room's bad, so it's like if you can
Yeah.
come in and really kind of impress, like that's that's a great spot to be in. So it sounds like he's been doing it. I think the biggest thing for me is I think Carl Brooks is probably like the like linemen, if we're talking about like defensive tackles, that I'm most concerned about. Only because like people were talking so highly of him when we first got him. And he's just kind of like he's an athlete and he's got like an opposing presence, but like where are you supposed to put him on this line? Like he can't actually be your one tech. We how many three techs do we really need? I just like I have a hard time figuring out like what we do with Carl Brooks. Um, you're laughing a lot. What's going on?
Do you remember last season when they? I remember either last season or the season before. I'm like so certain this is what happened when he blocked the kick in Chicago, and like 2 weeks later they put out a redraft of that class, and he was picked 32 to the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
Did I?
Yeah,
Am I remembering that right?
I think
Like
so. Yeah,
that
that sounds
happened.
right to me.
If I remember properly, I'm pretty sure Jordan had a legit aneurysm at that idea. But like quote unquote, what a fall from grace kind of thing.
Yeah,
But like, I mean, exactly. Like to your point, I'd say his job is most at risk this season, mostly because like you said, like Chris McClellan is playing well in camp, and they drafted him with the idea of like, yeah, he'll probably be the guy that replaces uh, Carl Brooks. But then you have Warren Brinson to deal with, and like where is he getting snaps, and so it'll be interesting
yeah,
for sure. Another thing to watch is like tomorrow, like the defense is. so much more interesting in terms of camp than offenses. Offense is settled. Like, but besides
Yeah.
the next position we're going to talk about, which is O line, like there's a lot of flux on the defensive side of the ball, which like I'd rather have than the offense because like the offense, if that's in flux, there's no real chance that they're doing anything significant this season. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think like yeah, I'm so curious what they're gonna do, and it also just kind of depends how much they want to live in base. Is Javon Hargrave actually gonna be the one tech? If he's not, if he is, then you get White and Brooks out on the outside, and you see what they can do. McClellan kicks Hargrave out there. Like I don't know, and maybe the answer is like they might still just end up going to get a guy because I think like Nazir Stackhouse is not long for this team. I don't really think they have a true one tech, and so like some of these guys are really exciting, but I do truly believe that if there's somehow a guy that shakes loose that they think they can just like plug the center of the defense, they're gonna have to look into it. I think it would be malpractice not to, because to act like any of these guys can really give you what Kenny Clark did even on his bad days is like a
right,
joke. Like there's just no plugger, and
for
like they
sure.
need one bad. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's so much more defensive talk than I thought we'd get to. So hey,
We,
look at us.
I mean, to your point, we were like, if we can keep this to 45 minutes, that'd be
There's
probably
no
best.
shot.
No, we
Yeah.
always go an hour at least.
Yeah. There's just so much news. There's always something to talk about.
We could just have conjecture for as long as we want.
Let's conject. I mean, let's just keep it to the offensive line. I mean, everything else we'll see. I the only
I
before we
have
get into the
I
offensive line.
have nothing on. Okay,
Yeah,
okay. Let's end with offensive line. I want to talk.
great.
Well, the only thing I'm curious about is does J. Michael Servant make the roster? Like, I think
Yeah,
he has a legitimate chance the way he's been playing in camp to make this roster over like Bull Melton, which they maybe not just because they like him on special teams,
I
but
think
like
it's going to be Sturdivant or Naylor, and I think if they keep
yeah,
seven, then it'll be Sturdivant over Naylor. I think
yeah,
they if they want to keep six, I have a hard time believing that he's going to stay. But we as Packer fans do this too. You know how many times we like
oh
they're
for
like
sure.
I can't believe they cut that guy and they just get him on the practice squad. Nobody ever
Nobody
poaches him. Like
wants them,
there is like a
right?
real chance like for that. But like
every
what?
every team likes their own guys. Like
Yep.
they know what they have and they already know the system. Everything else, like a guy's
Yep.
got to be special to get cut from a team to get picked up by somebody else.
The
Looking at
only
you,
the only
Micah
problem is
Abernathy.
yeah, the only problem is Packers South is already odd like practicing
Yeah,
guys. You know, I forget who got cut. That's already been down there already, but
it's a
so
it's a
there is a
couple of
chance.
them,
But
right?
yeah. Well, let's like we'll run through the wide receiver room. It's like Christian Watson,
Yep. Jaden
Matthew
Reed.
Golden,
Yep.
Jaden Reed, Savion Williams,
Yep.
Elijah Moore,
Nope.
Sky Moore,
How
Wrong
dare you?
Moore, whatever. Sky Moore, Bo Melton,
Ugh,
who I just don't want to see, but he might stay because they like him and he does a lot of special team stuff. And then
yeah.
yeah, if they keep a seventh, I think like if it were me, Sturdivant or Naylor, I'm keeping Sturdivant. It sounds like it's I was surprised that he didn't get drafted. He was somebody that I brought up as like a end of day and like a lot of the mocks I had because I
Yeah.
just think his like and it sounds like he's impressing more than you'd expect for an undrafted free agent,
Maybe
especially as
maybe
a
he's
rookie.
yeah,
So
maybe he's their guy that they keep the streak alive.
hopefully that would be. I think that's an excellent pick in terms of that. The only thing I was going to bring up is I'm curious if by the time the preseason game starts, like does the NFL? You know, Adam Schefter was on ESPN radio in Milwaukee or Madison talking
Yeah.
about how he wouldn't be surprised if the NFL gets ahead of whatever sort of ongoing investigation or because I don't want to like you know nothing has happened.
Right.
Nothing outside of football has
The
been.
inciting incident.
Yes, there's been nothing come to light. So Schefter said, like, oh, I would not be surprised if they are looking into this and are going to make a decision soon. So could that mean like he can play these preseason games, then week one? He was dealing with that injury. So it's like, does he play at all? I don't know. But that is something I'm curious about with the running back room. I'm excited Chris Brooks is back. So maybe Jordan Love, who is going to play at least one series. That's what has
Hmm.
been reported this week. Hopefully, they can get enough blocking that he can actually push the ball downfield. I'd love to see that, but
It'd be cool to
um,
have him throw a touchdown.
I would love to see that. I would love to watch Love throw a touchdown. But we'll see. But yeah, that's kind of all I got. Tucker Craft looks
Yeah.
great. Still
Yeah.
waiting on that contract.
Still
We don't
waiting.
need to hash it out again. I'm sure. Unless if Micah Parsons is back before Tucker Craft gets signed, then I'll be really concerned. Because I don't
Yeah.
even think necessarily week one is a deal breaker. I guess
No.
the only thing I want to bring up this week is somebody said like, "Hey, why are you out on the field if you don't have a contract?" And he's like, "There's guys that like medically retire." He's like, "You don't think I'm gonna back on the field as soon as I can, whether I think it's like a financial decision or not. Like
Right.
these are my teammates. Like I need to let them know I'm here for them. Like
Another
what a
great leader.
what a guy. Yeah. So pay him 40 million a year. I don't really, money's not real. Russ Ball, do your thing. I'm not going to worry about it. I think it's a no brainer. They want to lock him down. Whatever they're arguing for, I'm sure it'll work itself out. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't seem like a hold in kind of guy. And if he does hold in just to like make it happen, like so be it. But it's not happening right now, and so
Right.
um, we're still on contract watch, but we'll see.
I'd
So
imagine I wouldn't be surprised if it happened in the break between cut day and week one. Just
yeah,
like get through
seems like
camp and then
yeah.
get
Let's
done.
let's get like 5 strong weeks of like him
Yeah.
practicing and going through drills and see how his body reacts and then go from there. I mean, I think it's like a pretty. It would almost be irresponsible to be like, hey, you just came back from ACL surgery, like. We have
Here's
a means to watch you
yeah.
exercise and see how your body responds, but we should get this done now. It's like the Packers aren't stupid. They're
Yeah.
just not going to do that. You know what I mean? And like, honestly, it's better for Tucker. If Tucker comes back and looks every bit of the part we think he is, and like he has every claim to being paid the highest like tight end
Yeah.
until, you know, the next
So
guy's up.
yeah.
So,
I think it's Sam Laporta would
yeah.
be the other guy.
Yeah.
So all right, let's talk line. Left tackle solidified, Jordan Morgan. Right tackle
Hmm.
solidified, uh, Zach Bacoboile. Pretty sure I got that right.
Close enough.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Somebody's. I think Zach Tom. Sorry, I just did it. He said he might do Z back to do like
Yeah, somebody
which
brought
like
up like D-Bach and then
yeah.
Z-Bach, and he's like, "Oh, I kind of like that." So,
I might
I
just
don't know.
default to
I
that.
learned how to say Antetokounmpo pretty quickly.
Yeah,
Bakawele, pretty fun to say actually.
yeah.
Those are some
Rolls
pretty
off the
fun.
tongue. Nice
It really
when
does.
yeah.
So, but
Tackles solidified. Interior O line.
center solidified. Don't make that face about center. Sean Ryan is our center. There's no way around it.
I know, but
It's the guards flanking him on the left and right side that is really what's being put on ice here. So,
yeah, it's Anthony Belton getting benched. It's Jacob Monk going in for him. Like it's Donovan Jennings getting reps. It's Jager
well,
Burton. I'm sure I pronounced his
yeah.
first name wrong again.
Jagger, you're
Jager.
fine.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Finally, we got
Yeah,
that
you're fine.
figured out. But
Yeah.
like Jager Burton had a great game at right guard, left guard. What did he play?
Left guard.
Left guard.
Left guard
I'll
for
say,
Banks, yeah.
yeah, a great game against the Steelers. I think it was Dusty made a cut up of all of his blocks. Awesome time. He's a bully. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Let's start with the actual guy who's putting stuff on ice, and that would be his knee, and that would be tendonitis. Aaron Banks saying that his tendonitis flares up when he does football activities, which is really hard when you're wanting to watch him play football. I don't, I
Yeah,
don't, I don't know what's going on with that dude. This is another conversation about like Matt LaFleur being like using his public platform to just kind of like chastise players to be like, hey, it's time to like start figuring this stuff out. And then miraculously, Banks is back with the ones the very next day. I don't know. I really didn't want to believe that this was going to be like another Nate Hobbs contract or just the same year of just like Goody getting desperate, signing guys with injuries, hoping that they can turn it around. Um,
yeah. The
I still think Banks is your best left guard option if he can stay healthy. The problem is if he can't, then I don't love what the Packers are doing right now, which is preventing the inevitable, right? Like,
yeah,
um, I don't know. It's we had talked about being nervous about what does this line look like if certain guys don't meet their potential, and now I'm just going like, do they have enough guys to even put 5 strong players out there if Banks is not in the equation? And I lean to the answer being no, because like I'm going to move my bike because I might get a little louder. Jacob Monk is not. You can't tell me Jacob Monk is all of a sudden a serviceable right guard when you had every opportunity to play him last year and you didn't. You decided to take your right tackle and kick him inside and live with it that way. And then when he got hurt and he had to play at guard, you pulled him because he was so bad. You brought in Travis Glover. Like, you're not going to convince me all of a sudden the offseason he became a good option for you. Like, that's bogus and it's not true. Like, we did talk about this last week and I feel even more solidified in saying it because Belton's not playing there. Like, Monk is not the answer. He
no,
can't be just because you don't like Belton there anymore. Like, that's not how this works. Like, they need to get Burton playing right guard, period. That's where he needs to play. They need to figure out if Monk could play to replace Banks, and if he can't, then they need to go sign somebody. Like that's like you can't shuffle this deck of cards and expect to get a winning hand. Like they don't have enough options anymore. Like it's
No,
just not good enough.
no.
So
The draft record of linemen, like particularly interior O linemen, the last 3 or 4 years has been pretty darn bad. Like outside of Jordan Morgan, who is just now getting to his spot at left tackle, like a lot of the guys at the end of the bench for O line stink. And like to your point, remember when we saw the the week 1 Eagles game, and they like they were like 4 deep on their bench. It's like, yeah, Donovan James and Jacob Monk look lost out there. Like it's not it. They need guys. And to like the Aaron Banks point, if doing football activities makes your knee flare up, brother, this contract is gonna be a damn albatross by the time it's supposed to be done. It's gonna be bad. So yeah,
yeah,
I don't know what they're gonna do at guard for either position. Like if Aaron Banks can't play football, Jagger Burton's gonna have to play left guard, and then you're playing Anthony Belton at right guard, who they wholly do not believe in right now. Like I said,
mhm.
I think you need to go sign someone and like fast. That might be what they do. They might cut to 53 and then cut the unfortunate 53rd soul or 50 not the 53rd soul, but they might rehash who their 53rd guy is to be someone's right guard that they cut because it's not tenable. We know Jacob Bug isn't a tenable option. So yeah, it's not gonna be. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they just I forgot his name last week and I remembered it as soon as the pod ended, which showed me crazy. Like Kevin Zeitler still is out there, and who
Yeah,
knows if he wants to play football anymore. He is a Wisconsin native. Like, go get him. If you have to pay him 9 million for a year, that's a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
like this is a situation we find ourselves in. Like they just need to get better quickly. And I just don't see a world where Jacob Monk or Anthony Belton is really going to be that answer. Like I just don't. Like if Banks can play and Burton looks good and he can kind of do what Baka Boele did his rookie year, where you go like, oh, this guy is actually going to like hold this down and like this is found money, then that's great. And like, but most rookies are bad, and playing guard in the preseason is a very different animal than playing when you actually have to protect your quarterback in earnest.
yeah,
So I don't know. This is by far the right guard position is by far the thing I'm least positive about the entire football team.
yeah,
And I was really nervous even going into the draft about feeling this way. So it is a tough pill to swallow to be like, this is truly one of the worst case scenarios, in my opinion, because you can't skill your way out of not blocking interior defensive pressure. Like they can't run the ball,
yeah,
which means they can't do most of the things that Matt LaFleur wants to do. They can't protect Jordan. Like he's great in a clean pocket. He's great outside of it, but like he can't be running for his life constantly. That's not going to work. And that is going to really like severely limit what they can do offensively, which is like so stressful to think about. So to your point, hopefully whether it's cut down day, whether it's signing of a veteran who's still around, like I'm hoping like if they truly have pulled the ripcord on Anthony Belton and decided he no longer is a fit for right guard, that they gotta do something outside of this current roster makeup. Like they
yeah.
just do,
Hmm.
because they screwed everybody over by not getting them into positions where they could actually learn how to play. Because now all of a sudden, what Anthony Belton spent the last year and a half playing right guard. Now they're going to have him be the swing tackle, like Kennard. Apparently, I don't know what Kennard's deal is. I don't know where
Yeah,
that's at. But Anthony Belton could be the starting right guard in week 1, and who knows if that's good or bad. You know what I mean? This is
yeah,
like, I guess like, and I said this with the cornerback, so maybe it should say the same thing for the offensive line. It's just like when there's smoke, there's fire, and there's a lot of smoke in this right guard position. Like I think a lot of guys are getting information off the record that like they are not happy with Belton. They do not want him playing right guard anymore. Like that is the impression I get from all of these reports
yeah,
so quickly in such quick succession. But I don't know. He could be starting, and they just go like we needed to see who could go where, what could be the answer. Like if Jager Burton truly is just the heir apparent to left guard, if Aaron Banks can't play, then it's like it's a completely different conversation.
yeah,
And I just wish we had more clarity on that. But it's like it's a classic like Bakhtiari problem.
yeah,
Like Rasheed Walker is going to play left tackle until David Bakhtiari can prove he can do it. And Aaron Banks, it's the inverse, but he's going to play left guard until his body betrays him. Or, I mean, that's just going to, he's going to play if he's not hurt. So as long
Yeah,
as he's not hurt, he's going to be the left guard for the Packers. Like, and when they converted that cap to like signing bonus, like they all but guaranteed it. So
yeah, it's
I,
bad.
yeah. Uh, I've never heard of somebody trying to dig their way out of the hole by digging a few feet deeper, but like Goody did that with that contract. Like, and maybe they thought his knee wasn't as bad, but like, I don't know. They need to like be pushing like a medical thing because there's conversations people are having all week. Like, you could regain if he like is unable to fulfill that contract due to like procedures or and if they recommend a course of action that he refuses, then it's like there's like a medical settlement and like we can get some of that cap space back and like
They need
cap
it.
space is yeah. I mean, yeah, but who do they go get now? They're also like 2 hours late to the dance and everyone's
Yeah.
slow dancing already. Like who's around that's going to make them better? I don't know.
Listen,
And like I
man,
said, like
the lights are on. You gotta go home with somebody.
that's true. It's closing time.
Yeah, yeah.
And what about, and speaking of closing time,
Speaking of,
I have nothing. I have nothing else,
no, I know. I was going to affirm that like I agree with like everything you're saying.
Yeah.
It's crazy that it has gotten to this point, and to not even bring in somebody else, I think is like the biggest error of this training camp. Because like, do you need looking at the depth chart? Like, do you need Pierre Strong Jr.? Do you need Caden Prather? Like any of these guys that are end of roster guys that aren't gonna play, right? Or aren't gonna like even come close to making the team. We don't need to know the fourth or fifth running back, right? Like we just don't. I think they're currently like rostering like six.
Mm-hmm.
Um, get a different right guard in there just to like
Yeah.
figure something out. Yeah, they have one, two, three, four, five, six. They have Davey Martinez, Jaden Nixon, and Pierre Strong all on the roster right now. They don't need them there. They just don't. Like I know Josh Jacobs was hurt and Tress Brooks just came back. Sure, but now they're practicing. I'm pretty sure Josh Jacobs is practicing again. If not, it's fine.
He's practicing again. I don't know if he's going to play. They
Right.
like I said, they haven't had to announce that yet. So,
But like,
I mean, I'm gonna guess they're not. And
holy
the reason why you keep six running backs is because you don't plan on playing any of the ones that actually matter.
right. But like they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 receivers.
It's too
Like
many.
cut one. And just bring in a right guard that you think can compete. That's all. So
Yeah.
all right. That does it for
Uh,
this week's
on that
episode.
cheery note, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that does it for this week's episode of Talk About Tundra. John, we went an hour. Um,
Go figure.
go
Go
figure.
figure.
As
Yeah.
always, go check out uh, Eurostep with Ty and Rohan over on their feed. You can go hit the subscribe button wherever you get your podcast for this pod and on the YouTube channel. Um, we'll be back in your podcast feeds very soon to talk about this game as well as kind of wrap up the preseason and in between the third preseason game and week one, we'll talk about cuts and we'll have our annual little prediction pod about the team and the NFL and all this good stuff. So be sure to subscribe so you get all those notifications when we drop. So with that being said, thank you all for listening. We appreciate you. And John, thank you.
Thank you, Numac. Go get Joey Porter Jr. Good night.